and welcome everyone to our June 30 Minutes of Excellence that we have rescheduled. So, thank you all for your flexibility, first of all, and thank you for joining us today and showing back up. We have a special guest today, and we have Eric Shepard. And Eric is the Executive Director of Talent Transformations, and he is going to talk to us today about unlocking success with self-awareness and resilience. So this is a very, very timely topic. And Eric is going to share some insights and he's going to share, I know, some assessments and some different things with us as well. Before Eric starts, I do just want to let you know that with our 30 minutes of excellence sessions, we do this every fourth Wednesday of each month, and we bring in subject matter experts and we bring in people from throughout the country who are doing amazing work within the field of workforce development, and we highlight these strategies and we highlight these areas and organizations on the fourth Wednesday of every month. All of these are free and open to the public, so you don't have to be a member of NADA. You can definitely go to our website and register for any of our 30 minutes of excellence sessions. But I also want to talk to you about a couple of other things that we have going on. We do have our Business Services Academy that's coming up in August, and then we also have our Workforce Development Heroes. And this is where we get to nominate amazing workforce development professionals throughout the industry. So stay connected with us, and at this time, I'll turn it over to Eric.
Thank you so much, Kim. And thank you for National Association of Workforce Development Professionals for inviting me here to do this presentation. I appreciate it. Appreciate you all for turning up, especially this week. It's an easy week to kind of sneak off because of July 4th. As you might tell from my accent, I'm not originally from the US. Originally, I was born and raised in the UK. But I got here as quickly as I could. And so I do celebrate July 4th, just to reassure you of that. Might be worth just mentioning why self-awareness and resilience is so important these days. There is so much change going on, and our bodies don't normally cope with change and such rapid change so easily. So that's why it's worth kind of doing some self-care and just learning about ourselves so that we can be resilient. So that's what we've put this presentation together for. Just to give you a brief history about me. As you heard me say in my introduction, I was originally from the UK. I stumbled into the computer industry. I ended up being the CEO of a worldwide software company, and that software company did assessments. So we were doing tens of millions of assessments per year. And there, at some point, I was kind of burning out and said, I need to close this chapter and do something else. So I started stepping down from that organization. I wrote a book. And the book was about talent transformation and how the fourth industrial revolution is going to impact work, how it's going to impact how we interact with each other. And it was a focus around assessments. How can we assess knowledge, skills, abilities in individuals, in teams, and in organizations? So part of writing that book was to get it out of my head and to be able to move on to something else. And then started the foundation for talent transformation, which was trying to address some of the challenges that were kind of recognized in the book. In the importance in the future of work is to be able to cooperate and collaborate and communicate effectively and to resolve conflict. So that's just a little bit about me. So at the Foundation for Talent Transformation, we are a 501(c) nonprofit organization, and we help individuals build self-awareness, resilience, confidence, and career readiness through free assessments, apps, and AI tools, empowering them to thrive in today's and tomorrow's workforce. So that's our mission. That's what we're trying to do. That's why we're here. That's why we turn up and support NADA and their conferences. So let's look at what's changing. What is causing all this stress? Well, one thing is this dramatic shift in federal policies, 163 executive orders as of the June 21st of this year. So that's causing a lot of change. we also see this industrial revolution. So we started off in about 1750, and just to reassure you, this was before I was born, the first industrial revolution. And that's when we harnessed water power to drive machines, to create cloth and clothing. And there was a group at that time called Luddites who would go around trying to smash up these machines. But the revolution continued anyway. The second industrial revolution was about production lines and mechanization, electrical powers. So Henry Ford producing cars. In the third industrial revolution was all about computers and storing data, reporting data, making a lot of business processes more efficient. And now we're at the beginning of the fourth industrial revolution, which is happening very quickly. We're seeing the deployment of artificial intelligence, of Internet of Things, of generative AI. So things are kind of getting faster. So lots changing. This is putting jobs at risk. So where people would expect to go to school, potentially college, university, and then go to work, now there's questions, is all this education worth it? Because a machine's just going to do my work anyway. So it's putting jobs at risk, it's causing uncertainty. And then people in work or joining the workforce, they've got to be ready to constantly upskill because there's these new tools and information. All this is causing anxiety. Then there's a fear of missing out. We look at our social media streams and we go, oh, everyone else had a better time than I am. Comparing ourselves to others causes anxiety. We can also live in these algorithmic echo chambers. So we see things that reinforce what we believe. It tends to marginalize diverse views. And then we have misinformation as an industry. So things that will trigger us to click through to something, some outrageous thing. Oh, let me see what these crazy people are doing. And so it's the social media companies trying to get more and more of our attention so that they can make more advertising revenue. But it has an impact on our anxieties. And then we have these dopamine hits. Oh, look, someone liked my thing. Someone's commented on my thing, or infinite scrolling. And then we're always on. We're always kind of stretching to the phone. Oh, let me just check in case somebody's liked something or there's some outrageous thing I should be aware of. So there's all these hidden impacts, which is causing anxieties. As I mentioned, there was this previous way of work in the first, second, third industrial revolution. We'd learn knowledge and skills, we'd work for 50 years, we'd retire, and we're done. But now our education systems are going to have to focus more on learning to learn and also learning to forget, to unlearn. It's like, oh, we don't need that anymore because AI is going to do that, computers are going to do that. I don't have to remember my 10 times table or something because I have a calculator. But the good thing is we do need uniquely human skills. We do need to communicate in order to cooperate and collaborate. So those are important skills to develop. And when we're at work, we're going to see more gig kind of work. We're going to see take a job, work, learn, change. Work's going to change. We're going to have a new kind of work. We're going to have to learn and change. So embracing this idea of learning is going to be continue to be important and more important. The World Economic Forum have come up with key skills that employers believe are needed by 2030. If we look at the top quadrant there, we can see things like resilience and leadership and social influence, empathy and active listening, curiosity. These are kind of skills we need to develop. And some of them will come naturally because we're lucky, and other skills will not come naturally. But if we know that we need them, we can at least get out and start developing them. So change causes anxiety, but you can ease your anxieties by developing self-awareness. So you learn about your personality, your emotions, your values, your interests, your talents, your communication styles, and embracing this change, empathizing with others' perspectives, and nurturing healthy relationships and social connections. So this is the stuff that helps kind of lower the impact on our limbic system. It lowers the impact on the causes of anxiety. By just connecting with people, we will find we sleep better, we work better, life will be more enjoyable. So here's a little poem for you. The winds of change are blowing strong. Let go of what you know feels wrong. But when you can, stand up and strive. Your actions help our communities thrive. So the key thing there is learn what you can change, what you can't change, and when you can change up, stand up and learn about it and strive for that. All right, so in this challenge of self-awareness, communicating with others, being socially connected to help reduce anxiety, it's worth understanding how we show up for other people, especially as we go into a holiday weekend. Typically there's going to be families come together, and the grumpy uncle is arguing with the opinionated niece or something. So this would be a useful kind of social experiment for you just to watch how these interactions go on and as you participate in them. So who we are as people generally gets formed by the age of like 8 or 10 years old. And things like our values, our identity, personality traits, interests are matured through life experiences. But a lot of the core things are formed quite early on, and they only change through dramatic life experiences like a near-death experience or the loss of a loved one. So what we value now is probably what we were valuing 5 years ago, assuming we haven't been through some dramatic experience. It does get influenced by DNA as well as life experiences. When we look at personality traits, it's kind of 60-40 or 40-60. And to a certain extent, it's where it comes from doesn't matter. It just is. So then on top of this, through life, we learn these skills at an early age. Our parents or mentors and teachers, other people might be teaching us how to behave in different situations. And so we develop this self-awareness. We learn how to manage ourselves. If we're in a fine dining restaurant and we see some screaming 2-year-old, we forgive them. But if we saw a screaming 20-year-old, we'd probably be less forgiving because we'd think they should have learned self-management skills by that age. Social awareness, reading the room, understanding kind of how people are reacting to the situation and to us, etc. And then relationship management. Sometimes we think that relationships just happen, and in many cases they do just happen, but often you have to work at them. I'm a great believer in date night, of having one night a week and say, okay, this is for us. What are we going to do? Let's go out and do your favorite thing together. Just having that time, cultivate your relationships with your colleagues, with your loved ones. So we learn these skills, but then how those skills play out and how our personality and skills play out depend on the specific environment. So I'm just seeing I'm blurry here. We don't want that. Let's not be blurry. And I see Kelly's was talking. Okay, so depending on who we are, underlying personality traits, these skills that we learn, we behave differently in different situations. So if we're lucky enough to be in a healthy home, people are having good, healthy conversations, maybe healthy disputes, but they're dealing with it in a healthy way. That's great. You'll turn up differently. If you're in a toxic home with people shouting and screaming and arguing, and maybe it's got other addiction issues within the house, then that would be a toxic home. Same in workplaces. Thriving workplaces, there's psychological safety, there's sufficient incentives to work, etc. Be a thriving workplace. A toxic workplace is where maybe the boss is always shouting or constantly changing expectations. So you just settled into solving one problem and then, all the expectations have changed. So these are toxic workplaces. Sporting events, we're going to behave differently at a sporting event or in a restaurant or in a meeting like this. We'll behave differently. So how we show up is dependent on these three things. And so you can think like, oh, should I develop some new people skills, or should I help this other person develop some new people skills? And that's how we show up. So when we understand these kind of things, we move from unconscious of our incompetence through to being unconscious of our competence. And let me explain that. So we can think of this in the driving context, that if a kind of a baby in a car seat doesn't even know they can't drive. But as we get older, we kind of go, oh, look, I can't even drive. So I become conscious of our incompetence. So as a 10-year-old or a teenager, they become conscious that they were not behaving well as a child, but they realize they get what they need if they were to act with more respect. Then we become conscious of our competence, so learning to drive with fingers and thumbs, and using a lot of our prefrontal cortex, the front part of our brain, to learn to drive. And eventually we get to a point we just jump in the car. Those of us who can drive just jump in a car and we go driving. So let's just think about where this sits in the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where this sits in this changing world that is causing us to be stressful. So I'm making the assumption here that our physiological needs like food, water, sleep, etc. are met, and that safety and security, we do not feel under threat all the time, although people can feel under threat with financial security. But love and belonging, these two areas, safety and security, and love and belonging, are the areas that definitely are worth nurturing if you're trying to reduce anxiety. Connections with others will give you that sense of security. And then from there, it's possible to start developing a better self-esteem, healthier self-esteem, as many of you do with the people that you help. You help them develop this. So if we think this is the hierarchy of needs, if our needs are met, we feel confident, we feel grateful, we feel exhilarated, refreshed, we feel great. But if our needs are not met, we're going to feel embarrassed or confused, annoyed, tense. So identifying which are the needs that are not being met, going back to that hierarchy of needs, you can start working on those to say, okay, these are how it's being exhibited. It's being exhibited as I'm embarrassed, or it's being exhibited that I'm angry. But what is it? What need is it that's not being met? Because that's the root cause I need to identify. So this is the key thing of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is helping you calm down so that you can have intelligent conversations. So it is the ability to recognize, understand, and manage your emotions. It enhances your communications, and it's this foundation to self-awareness, social awareness, relationship management. And it's really you as a grown-up human being taking control of your feelings and saying, when is it appropriate? When is it not appropriate? So in the front prefrontal cortex, that's where we do our heavy thinking. If our emotions and feelings are triggered, we tend to think less and have these feelings of we want to fight, we want to flight, or we want to freeze. And these are not particularly healthy and helpful in the modern workplace or the home. If you get into an argument at home, then it's not a good idea to start fighting or flighting or running away or freezing. You really want to say, look, maybe we need a timeout, but I definitely want to come back and talk about this. So just remember, it's part of your brain. Top of the brainstem is generating the adrenaline, which is shutting down the prefrontal cortex, which means you're doing less thinking and you're more likely to fight and flight and freeze. So learning to calm down is a useful thing. Okay, so we're going to get into a bit more of self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship management. One key thing is to label your emotions. So, oh, I'm feeling angry right now. Why am I feeling angry? Oh, I'm feeling angry because I just saw this thing on social media, which is outrageous. well, maybe it's not right, or maybe you're forgetting the 99% of amazing things that's happening in the world. You're just being triggered by that one thing. So take a step back. Oh, look, I'm feeling this way. What triggered it? Is it a valid trigger? Maybe reframe it. And recognize how your feelings shape your actions. So if you start your day feeling irritated, maybe you're going to feel irritated the whole day. So maybe there's a way you could reframe that and say, well, that's happening over there, but I'm happening over here, and I'm going to make this a great day. And then maybe on the evening, you can reflect on your feelings. I started out with a bad day because of something, but because I reframed it, I was able to have a great day. You can also do simple things like take deep breaths. There's a 4-second breathing exercise you can do, which we've written articles about. But just breathing is a good thing. Yeah, don't stop breathing, and pause before you react. If you see yourself wanting to react, you go, "Is this the best possible outcome?" Because if I react this way, this might not be the best possible. I might not produce the best possible outcome. And so build some of these strengths, and maybe go-to phrases like, "Can we talk about this later?" Or "What do you think about that?" So even when you're stressed, you can have these little tools at your disposal. Maybe someone gets angry with you. You can say, "This might not be the best time to talk about this," or so in the interest of time, I'm not going to go through this exercise, but a useful thing to do, just recalling a recent frustrating incident, and just think about how well did you manage it? Even if you managed it badly, it's okay. It's a learning experience. And then how did this impact your relationship with that other person when you were getting irritated? And how were you coming across to others? So sometimes it's worth thinking of a third person watching your interaction, going, "Oh, this isn't actually going to help me be successful." So identify your triggers, manage these reactions, and just consider alternatives. Is there a better way to see this situation? Can I reframe the situation to do better? Here's some phrases. By the way, at the end here, you're going to be able to download this presentation. So some of this I'm going through to make sure we complete on time. But you can download some of these. So here's some useful phrases. I see things differently, but I'm curious in your point of view. Let's pause and come back to this. I appreciate you bringing this to my attention. What am I missing here? These kind of phrases can just slow the situation down so that you can pause to think and have other people think. So social awareness, notice other people's feelings, like if you understand why they're feeling that way, you can have a better conversation with them. Like, "I'm noticing you're becoming distant right now, but we really need you in the conversation. Is there something that we can do or help to bring you back into this conversation?" Just be open and honest about that someone is behaving in a way that is non-participatory. Read the room. Feel when people are actually engaged or not engaged. If they're not engaged, that might be an issue that you need to pay attention to. Communicate clearly. There's many reasons to communicate clearly. Seek first to understand. So many misunderstandings come from people thinking they say something, maybe they do or don't say it clearly, what the other person hears and what the other person thinks you're trying to say, what the words are. And there's a lot of misinterpretation that goes on in voice communications, even written communication. So feel free to ask questions. There's nothing wrong with it. You're not saying the other person's crazy or you're crazy. You just say, "I don't quite understand that. Could you just go through that again with me?" You got lots of time in the world, develop understanding rather than ending up being confused. All right, so here's a quick quiz to see whether you got this. Hopefully this is all going to work. You're going to grab your phones and you're going to join this little quiz. There's just like 4 questions here that I'm going to ask you. And now you're all getting stressed. First this guy tells me not to get my phone out, that I shouldn't be using and now he's telling me to point my phone at this QR code. That's the way life goes, I guess. Okay, here's the first question. In times of rapid change, such as shifts in technology and policy, what is the normal and expected emotional response many people experience? Okay, so scan the codes and give us your answer. Great stuff. Thank you. Thanks everyone for scanning the code. I know it's a bit surprising that we do this, but I think it gives us. So in times of rapid change, such as shifts in technology and policy, what is the normal and expected emotional response many people experience? I'll give you a countdown to 3, 2, 1. We're going to close the poll and see. Anxiety or uncertainty. Oh, look at that. You're 100% right. Okay. Thank you for all paying attention. Excellent. 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 Okay. Next question. What is the one key benefit of developing self-awareness? What's the one key benefit of developing self-awareness? Good stuff. Okay, very good. 3, 2, 1. We're going to close the poll. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Look at this. You're a bright crowd. Look at that. It helps you recognize your strengths and areas for growth. Yeah, even if you're in a bad situation, you can say, oh, look, I need to develop ways to improve that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And one or two more questions ago. Which of the following is a practical strategy for maintaining emotional triggers and improving emotional intelligence? Which of the following is a practical strategy for managing emotional triggers and improving emotional intelligence? Three, two, one. There we go. All right. Oh, goodness. Thankfully, we have a couple of others. So keep a journal to track and understand your emotional triggers. Yes, that is a really good practical strategy. I don't think I actually said that during the presentation, but yes, it is just to say, oh, yes, I reacted that way. It's not a good idea to suppress your emotions, but it is a good idea to understand them. Don't only focus on logic. We are people and humans. But a good answer, rely on external validation for emotional well-being. That's not a good idea. Rely on yourself. All right, very good, excellent. You're a great class. Oh, look at this. Oh, we got, I didn't even know we did that. Look at that. So Rose, you won. All right, so here's some QR codes. So you can use our personal values quiz, you can use our personality traits quiz, our emotional intelligence quiz, learning mindset quiz. These are all free. Everything on our website at talenttransformation.com is free. We also have a My Talents app, and that allows you to just do this on your phone. I know it's a little crazy. I'm saying, hey, don't use your device all the time, and then we have a link. But on there, there's about 20 different quizzes that go through those 4 and more. And because you've attended this webinar, we're going to have a little secret at the end that won't be recorded. It'll only be for you guys to download the new voice enabled. So you can actually have conversations with the app. But that's just a special offer. It's coming at the end. So with that, I'm going to answer some questions. I did see a question about the book. Feel free to email me. I don't have details about the book here, but you can either go to my LinkedIn, find me on LinkedIn at Eric Shepherd, or email me, eric.shepherd@talenttransformation.com. Be happy to send you any details. And if you fill out the form at the end, I'll send you the copy of this presentation. So you have that.